was also very, interested in experimenting. That's, I believe, MBA is all about.
I always felt that consulting is beyond, your data crunching, your presentations, your decks. It's more connected towards humanly nature.
I just wanted to know what are those basic and fundamental skills that a fresher must acquire before entering a B school?
Nothing.
Our first session is from BML Munjal University, and we have two alumni from the university. We have Saurav Sahani, who is a technology consulting analyst, innovation advisor at Accenture Robotics. And we have Akansha Agarwal, who is an associate at Lily, marketing research. She's also digital and social media marketing creator. So yeah, please have a huge round of applause and welcome them on stage with me. Okay, so right now I'm in the shoes of students, so I'm asking questions on behalf of them. Since I already introduced you guys, but I would like to know more about your journeys and your careers and so far what you have done and how did you land where you are right now. So we can start with Akansha and then we can start with Saurav.
Okay, guys. Hi. So, myself, Akanksha, you already know my name. So, I did my BBA from Jaipur, Xavier's University. After that, I'll just like you all, I was also really confused, like what to do, what not to do. There are so many options out there. So that's when, going through various counselings and everything, I got to know about my university, which is BML Munjal University. From there, I checked their website and really find, how they really create different aspects of MBA's covers during those 2 years of our journey. So that's when I got really excited and applied for my MBA. From BML Munjal University, and from there actual journey of change started, because I know a lot of here will be introvert like me, because I was a hell introvert. It's like I know today I'm sitting here talking in front of all of you. If someone would have asked me to do it, like 3 or 4 years back before my MBA, I would have just ran away like anything and be in my room in my phones or like all doing like I can't imagine. So that's actual my transformation journey started from my MBA, which is, and thanks to that, my college, that how I actually, and currently I'm with Lily. It's a pharmaceutical company. And this is my second job. Previously, I worked with Nielsen IQ for 1 year as a research associate as well. So this in turn sums up my professional journey.
Thank you, Akansha. So yeah, like Akansha, I have also started my journey with my BBM. I did it in marketing and business analytics. Business analytics and marketing is something that drive me. I mean, I always have some, keen interest to know about data. I think I'm like, in a weird way, I'm in love with data. But yeah, and then I joined BML. I came to know BML, through my peers and through my brother-in-law. So he told me that, see, this is a very good university. You should, apply to it. We have like very good programs here. And I must say the faculty, I mean, the marketing faculty is top notch here. And yeah, I still remember interacting with I had a first session with one of our faculty named Rick Paul. I think the knowledge that he has given me, the knowledge transfer he has given me is immense. So that has helped me to bag, the role that I am currently in. And coming to my professional career, I joined as a tech consulting analyst I belong to a team that is called as Innovation Advisory. Innovation Advisory, as the name sounds, we try to, talk about maturity assessment, how innovate your company is and what is the level of innovation happening across your industry. And then from that, I pivoted to Metaverse. I joined the Metaverse team because I was always a tech geek. I wanted to ride the tech wave. And yeah, apart from Metaverse, currently I am working with the Accenture robotics team. My role is to do go-to-market strategy. And yeah, as the name suggests, robotics, we develop almost anything and everything that is there on the face of Earth. So yeah, that's pretty much it from my side.
Pretty interesting journeys. Lot to unpack in both of your career journey so far. But Akansh, I'll start with you. So what were some pivotal moments in your career? And you transitioned, I think, from research to marketing, right? So how was that transition for you?
So, during my 2 years journey in BML Munjal University, I was always really interested in marketing. See, when we talk about marketing, it's a very broad umbrella. You can't define, it's like I'm in marketing because there's sales in marketing. Their market research is also a part of marketing. So there are a lot of things. Then there's digital marketing. There's branding. So when I was in BML Munjal University, so like we had a very shared project where we used to work on branding, we used to work on advertising, marketing of different brands. So like the course like we used to have. So I was always interested in that aspect of marketing where I actually plan, execute those kind of stuff. But I was also very interested in experimenting. That's I believe MBA is all about, where you actually get to experiment. See, once you are done with the MBA and you take a job, you are sometimes get very, limited space to experiment what you actually like, what you actually don't like. But MBA, that 2 years of journey is very important. And that is why, like what college and everything you take, I guess that's why BML also helped us to, they allowed us to experiment with the all the, whatever with the interest. I remember I don't even used to have, like I used to think I just hate numbers because I always used to get very bad marks in math, sorry. So I was always interested in marketing and everything. But then when I took my job, as I told, I really wanted to experiment with research part as well. So that's why I took a job at Nielsen, where and I worked with numbers, market research. When we talk about research, there are two aspects as well. One is research and development, where you actually work in the labs, and like if you're create manufacturing part, where creating a mobiles, like today it is a very important part of our lives, right? Cell phones. So there is where actually research and development, like how software will work. Then there is a market research, where you analyze the data part of it, which number will work, and like how your product is actually performing in the market. So I was in that part of the market research, where I used to deal with numbers. So I guess most of you know, if you don't know, let me just give a gist of Nielsen. Nielsen is a service based company, where they help other clients, like all the big shot clients, FMCG clients, to actually help them assess how their product is marketing. So all the different chips, if it's a new chips is coming into the market, they go to the Nielsen to actually will that flavor, of if they are introducing something new in the market, or they're actually already a product in the market. They want to assess with their competitors. So that's what Nielsen helps with, using the numbers. Nielsen have their surveys, like the market research part, where we conduct a survey across the market. We know the consumer's perception. So that's what we used to do. So while doing that part, I realized like I liked working with numbers, but with Nielsen I was very confined. Like I did the research, I gave the insights to the our clients, like this is how your market is performing. Now like we can't have a much say it there, like how to implement the strategy, or how to brand your products. So that's when I realized like I want to, it won't a total market transition, I will say, from market research to a marketing, but it was like a addition part. Like now what I do, like with Lily, it's a product based company, it's a pharmaceutical company which have their own drugs. So now while I'm working with Lily, so now I have a more say, okay, this is how our product is doing in the market. So this is what it is not, or consumers are not understanding the importance of this X or Y drug. This is how we can implement this in the market, or this is how we can present that in the market. So it's like mixing my market research, my analytical data analytics knowledge, insights in the marketing as well. So that's now I have transitioned, using my market research knowledge, my analytical knowledge, along with my brand and strategy, which I was always interested upon in.
That's lovely. And for somebody, let's take your example only over here. You mentioned about skills. So, what are some skills that you learned in your MBA which helped you kind of bridge this gap seamlessly? You can probably draw from your anecdotes and your time at BML and the things that you were a part of. Probably it could be any project or something that you learned there and are eventually now applying in your job, which help you to bridge this gap better.
So definitely, as I told already earlier, like I was a hell introvert. Talking to one people, even asking a question was so difficult for me. I used to get so scared. But during that 2 years of journey, so that's where I learned a lot of coming out of my comfort zone. But because it's my work, I have to go out and ask questions. I can't just be like sit around and wait for someone else to tell me कि oh this is where you had your doubt. सामने वाले को पता भी नहीं होगा भाई मेरा डाउट है क्या. So it's your responsibility if you want to learn. So talking about like the leadership skills, I remember there was again this was a finance project of us, and like I am like like it was a first module or second module, and I used to think like I'm very bad with numbers and everything, and I was the project lead of my finance project. Like, do you imagine a introvert who just hate numbers being the like leading a finance project? Like, how does it even make sense? Like, to me it didn't make a sense, but still, and it was like we had a deadline of 2 weeks to complete that project, and I was like sitting around like, okay, these people are in my team, they will do the project and they will submit, I don't have to do anything, I'll just go and sit and chill around. I am a project lead. And then suddenly those 2 weeks went in a vanish, and I was just like, okay, now tomorrow we have a deadline of 11:59 where we have to submit project on the classroom. Now what to do? Then I connect with all my teammates, and everyone is like, we didn't do it, we were waiting. We didn't do it, we were waiting. Like, what the hell you were waiting for? I don't even know finance. And then I was like, now that is when I actually, okay, I need to take a control of it. I am the project lead, I need to take control, I need to assign the project, like whatever part, to everyone in the team. So that's when I remember like those two. Tomorrow I have to 11:59 PM, which once you take a admission in like any MBA college, you will have those 11:59 deadlines. If you if you submit after that 11:59 PM deadline, your 10 marks are gone, and your CGPA suddenly went from 9 to 8. That you can't afford because everyone is thinking about their CGPA, right? You are here, you want to be top. It's like, then I'm like sitting like, I remember then we were like on the call continuously assigning people. You do this, then and it's like, it's not just assigning. Now I need to know like what they are doing. For that I need to read, I need to understand. So then I sat there for freaking 2 days and learned all the concepts which was shocking to me. I enjoyed. So that was my first experience of coming out my comfort zone and having that leadership skill. And it's like MBA is full of experiments, and after that was it. And after that I just started experimenting with myself, be it marketing, and like from there I learned like this data analysis from there, because I used to, then I started working more with numbers. It's not used to be like just college project. Then I started researching out of my college project, like whatever projects I used to see online, then I started doing that. From there I learned the communication part, data analysis, all those skills which I use now, which is leading the way, communicating, delegating the work, planning, execution, all my skills which I actually use now, which is very handy to me.
Perfect. So this is a clear example of how putting yourself out of your comfort zone, and MBA kind of gives you no choice, right? You have to like 11:59. You have to do this, or else you will face the repercussions and consequences.
Definitely.
Awesome. We'll go to our patient listener, Saurav. Saurav, let's first unpack your role at Accenture as a consulting analyst, right? Technical consulting analyst. Let's unpack your role, exactly what you do, and let's backtrack from there.
So I can start saying that what interests me to start with a tech called Metaverse. I started because I loved the ability of Metaverse to to blur the difference between physical and the digital experiences. The immersive world that gives us that gives the employees to work, to collaborate, to be creative, to work efficiently, made me think that, why can't tech consulting be more towards, more towards a human centric angle. So I always felt that consulting is beyond, your data crunching, your presentations, your decks. It's more towards it's more connected towards humanly nature. I mean, you should be empathetic enough to know your client's problem statement and how well do you deal with it. And obviously keeping in mind that, see, innovation is something that is quite relevant here, but then obviously you cannot waste your client's money. You cannot ask your client to over invest in something that is like, that in unpopular ideas, the ideas that are not, fulfilling enough. So yeah, I mean, that is when I started, when I mean, that was like my first project as metaverse. As a tech consulting analyst, I did metaverse. And I remember, the things that I learned from MBA that, comes to play here. So as Akansha was mentioning about time management, that is something, I mean, in obviously we always have consequences if we don't manage our time. So like, obviously, like Akansha, even I also worked in a team in BML where, my teammates were not that much efficient enough, but that made me, get my role into a leadership role. I tried to motivate people. I tried to get the things done no matter what. And obviously those are my friends. I cannot be harsh to them. So I have to, apply certain techniques, certain tactics to get the work done. So time management is something that is what, MBA has, made me proficient in. And then I remember I mean, you guys will be having in your future. That's called, there's simulation games that you'll play. So that is something that made me, very proficient in, let's say it forecasting, let's say demand forecasting. How do you do market analysis? How do you judge, based upon what your product, how your product will, do well in the market. So that is something I learned in, playing those simulation games in MBA. And that is quite helping me in metaverse, in robotics that I'm currently working in. Let's say we are pitching a product, we are doing a work for a client. So a client is getting a product, so we have to simulate, we have to forecast certain things, we have to take certain assumptions. In business, I mean, when money is involved, when things are involved, assumptions, if you're taking an assumption, that should be, straight on, that should give you a fruitful result. If it doesn't, I mean, then you'll have a escalation mail from a manager or something that's coming in. So yeah, my journey from MBA to here, I mean, I started like all of you. I also started as an introvert. I didn't like much to speak. I was the one who was, I was very much into, if you give me a task, I'll get it done in several ways. But if you ask me to present to it, I feel very shy, to talk to. But then, when I started my MBA journey, so we have presentations every now and then. We used to do, we used to present. I mean, I think 5 times a week we used to present, and there's like one slide, but we used to present that. But that made me realize that practice is helping me here. When we are going to client conversations, we cannot be wrong. I cannot quote anything wrong, and I cannot hesitate. So I still thank my MBA, my peers, my batchmates. I thank them. They've supported me for who I am here and for what I'm doing. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
There's a myth that MBA is not, technology is not properly integrated with the management curriculum. So when you were doing a hyper specialized role in technology specifically, how has MBA helped you then?
Yeah, I mean, let's say I can give you an example of, see, MBA will teach you how to know things, but then at the end of the day, you are the one who has to implement it. So I am somebody who's very curious about technology, and I can tell you, I mean, when I joined Accenture, we were having a blocker. We have a massive data set of like 16,000 data entries. So we tried to, I saw the problem. I was like, okay, so this is like a very big data set. How do you sort it out? So people who were previous to me and my colleagues, they were like, we do it manually, and that is very time consuming. So time is money here. As I am very, enthusiastic in tech. So what I did is I tried to implement Gen AI into it and conversational AI into it. So this is something that which I mean, we worked and we got the results in a couple of weeks. I mean, our team was very efficient in that, and we got the data within, like, the thing that used to take us 5 to 6 hours, it is done within 15 minutes. For me, when I joined a college or when I joined an organization, I just see, okay, if there's a problem, if I can solve it. And MBA has taught me that. So we have like problem solving sessions, we have case study sessions, we have case study competitions that goes on. So there the time is limited. You have to get the result done out of in 1 hour or in 15-20 minutes. So how well do you come up with that? That is up to you. So for that, I think I should advise all of you guys to be very proficient in whatever technology you guys love. I must say, everybody is talking here about Gen AI right now, or something that is about conversational AI or AI in general. But currently, see, 10 years from now, there won't be an AI. There will be quantum. So you should always keep updated yourself with the technology that is coming in the near future and that is still there currently.
Perfect. So I'll pass on one microphone, and first let me just understand who all here wants to ask any question.
I just want to understand, like, after doing an MBA, as I've mentioned, that you went to a technology role. So is your role more into, like, do you do coding on a day-to-day basis, or you are more into management, dealing with the clients and stuff?
So yeah, I mean, when I joined, before joining, I thought, dude, how will I do coding? I don't know anything about coding. But yeah, once I joined, it's more of a techno-functional role. So I need to know about what the technology is. I need to know about the use cases, and then how do we pitch it to the clients. That is something that needs to be, you should know. You're not into the development part of it.
My question is to you, Akanksha. Like, I just want to understand, what is a day-to-day working, like, what is your everyday role at a pharma sales company?
See, there are a lot of misconception around pharma. So usually when we talk about, hey, I'm in a pharmaceutical company, so what people usually understand is like we works in a lab. No, guys, we don't. We didn't study biotech or pharma or something like that. I hardly even remember the molecule name. So coming back, so see, I'm on a market research part of it, where I get to assess how that drugs is being taken into perception by the HCPs and the consumers. So if you talk about the day-to-day responsibilities, is like conducting those research through various platforms. So if I can name one platform, is Decipher. So Decipher is one platform which is used by most of the market research companies, be it a service company or it's a product based company. If you're in that part, because it helps you to collect a various data, like through be it consumers or when I say HCP, it means healthcare professionals, which is doctors, which we say in India. So that's how, like, we generally conduct those researches and analyzing the data, getting the insights out of it, because you will get a lot of data. You can't send your all the stakeholders that lot of data, they won't even understand. So for us, day to day collecting that data, understanding it, getting the insight of it, and based off the insights, what you think how that particular XYZ drug should be placed in the market, and how it should be conveyed to the consumers or HCPs through a storytelling. So that's how our responsibility comes in.
My question is, so the roles you guys are working in, right? There would be other associates or your colleagues which came directly after their graduation. So what additional advantage do you think you got from MBA which would like help you perform better than them? Or let's say the learnings or your growth, it may help you accelerate your growth. So what are the key things that you think you learn in MBA that helps you get an edge over the people who are working in the same roles?
MBA taught me how to present yourself properly when you're talking to a leadership or a C-suite. So how do you present yourself? And and it also taught me how do you interpret the data. See, it's one thing that you can anybody can read the data. It's other thing that how do you interpret it. Like Akansha was mentioning, storytelling. Storytelling is something that you learn there. That I still remember in our nascent days, we were given to create a product from scratch and then do its marketing, its finance, its operations, its everything. So when you're creating a product from stage zero, you are labeling it, you are enabling all the factors, and you are taking all the factors into consideration. So that has helped me when I'm in client conversations, when I'm developing an asset, when I'm doing anything and everything in my office. So obviously I'll not say that, this will be rude to say that I am different from all those guys, but yeah, I can see the clarity of work that I do and the clarity of work, let's say, somebody else does, is a bit different. Then how do I present it myself? How do I engage with my stakeholders? It's different. The feedbacks I receive is something, is what is very bankable. So I try to build a genuine trust with the client. I'm not saying that the other person who has not done an MBA or not done or just graduate doesn't, but yeah, I think these are the skills that helped me, that I learned in MBA, to be future ready for corporate.
So when you enter a B school, there is always two groups of people. One is work experience and one is freshers. So you people coming from the freshers group, I myself, I am a fresher and I am from pharmacy background. I just wanted to know, what are those basic and fundamental skills that a fresher must acquire before entering a B school?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay.
Okay, I'll tell you. So definitely there will be people in our batch as well, like who used to who came after some kind of experiences. But I personally believe that it gave me an edge being a fresher over those, because when you have already worked in an industry, you definitely have the experience, but somewhere it also helps. It rigids your mentality, your thinking. Okay, in industry, this is XYZ, this task is done this way. In MBA, this is not. MBA is all about experimentation. Like, you do whatever you do, you think you don't like it, you still do it because you want to experiment, you want to learn. So if you come with I won't say that if you come after after certain experience, it will hamper your learning, but it totally depends upon you. It will be a challenging for you because you need to start from zero. Just imagine someone who already knows till 10, counting till 10, and then you ask him, you have to learn from zero. It will be a little difficult if it's modified. But when you go from a fresh perspective, you don't know anything, and that gives you an edge over that person, because you're coming from a free mind, you don't know anything. You will try 10 different ways. You will fail in 9 ways, but you will learn in 1 way, right? Those 9 different ways, maybe like we typically say, oh, those are known failures, and you learn. No, it won't be like those 9 process is something you will fail in all the steps. There will be few steps you will do right? Maybe, and the end product will be not as good as you expected, but there will be 5 steps in that full process which you would have been a better than you expected. So every step you are learning. So I don't think so. Like, at least I'm speaking from my experience, I did not face any hurdle. Actually, it helped me to go from a fresh perspective, because मुझे तो कुछ पता ही नहीं था.
See, I'm from totally from science background. Even right now, I'm doing animation. So I want to study in management. So after my UG, which specialization I can select?
I'm also from science background, so yeah. See, if you ask me, whatever is right for me, I can say. But what makes you feel, that okay, so if I'm studying this subject, if I'm going in this background, it's very helpful for me. It is something that you are falling in love with. This may sound exaggerating, but yeah, I think because I love marketing, I love analytics. So that is the reason why, before even going to before doing my graduation also, I always kept in mind, I'll do marketing, I'll do analytics, no matter what. So I think you should ask yourself that question, that what best suits for you. You coming from a animation background, creativity is something that is there in you. And I think, see, animations is obviously there in there are courses that are taking animations as as your masters, as your MBA. So you should look for that type of course, I feel.
Also, adding to Saurabh, so it's like, see, the beauty of doing this PG or choosing a B school, you don't need to be clear. Like, it's possible. You're still doing animation, right? It's like, while taking admission, it's totally fine if you don't have the clarity. You will have 1 year, full 1 year. That's why when I said, like, you don't need to know nothing. Because actually, that in 1 year, like, it's a course of 2 years, but is the starting 1 year is actually you will identify a lot of things about yourself which even you didn't aware of. Ki like, ठीक है, you think you can't do this, but maybe once you start doing it, you develop, you may be very good at it, or you may develop interest over that 1 year. So you get, for 1 year you study everything. You study marketing, you study HR, you study business analytics, or finance, or whatever subjects which your B school provides. You will study 1 year. So you will, and 1 year is a very long period of time. You actually get the clarity how you want to proceed. And even if, like, even after 1 year you don't have the full clarity, you will have some idea. And there are always mentors in your universities, which I was very fortunate enough to have a really great mentor in my B school. So the professor's name was Devinder Singh. So like he's like a gem of mentor anyone can have, and I was really fortunate enough to have him as my mentor, because even I was not clear. So like I remember like going to him in every month, or like whenever we used to have connect, and I used to be, sir, I don't know this, I'm still not getting the clarity. And it was like, even most of the time it used to be the same question, and his answer would be, his answer wouldn't be like, why don't you have the clarity. He's like, okay, try this, try this. He always forced me to try new things, which actually helped me to get clarity. Okay, I want to pursue my marketing, my masters in marketing. So that's how, like, just don't be too nervous about in the starting itself, like, how should I choose. Of course, do your research, you will find 10 different things, but don't be so tense while taking the admission. I don't know what to do.
I see a lot of questions regarding the initial days of MBA and what is required and expected you to be prepared, and what can you expect in return. So let's talk about the induction week, because all of you come from different walks of life. How does MBA then level the field out? What is the first initial weeks like? What all do you learn? And then let's talk about a summer internship experience also, because you both are freshers. So working first time during your internship, how was that like? Let's talk about that.
As ours was a COVID batch, so I don't take that as a blocker for real, because I feel the amount of collaboration that was done online is immense. And so in our induction week, we had so we were asked to develop again. We were asked to develop a product. So me and a couple of my friends were asked to develop a water park. It's as bizarre as it sounds, but yeah. And then we came up with very, very innovative and creative, cringy tag names and everything and stuff like that. So
what were the tag names?
I
it's
think
tough to remember. I understand.
I don't remember. That's the thing. We had like drop something in Hindi. We put something like that. Some. I'm forgetting that.
It's okay. You might have to buzz it for the YouTube.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. So we had that. We had something like that, and that taught us. That was the first time I interacted with bunch of people across India. We were all from different parts of India. We were all talking about how do we collaborate, how do we think. I think that's the grassroots level where your leadership quality kicks in, where you start talking about what, I'm assigning this task to this guy, and then people will start to listen to you. Okay, so this guy is saying, let's listen to him. That is something that's the first thing that happened. And subsequent week, we had presentations every now and then. So the first presentation, I think for me, I was like, oh, okay. I kept a what's that called, a note saying that, okay, I'll just see and say. But then it didn't go well. Then I decided to change it to just, I'll say what is like, I know the crux, I'll say it. So that is something that I've learned to be a good storyteller, even if I'm not. But yeah. That's pretty much it from my end.
Okay, so for induction week, like, see, it was like, initially it was very sad for us, because like we were so excited to go to all campus and meet new people, and we were so like when we went to get the admission, and like we were so all over the world, over the campus and everything. So suddenly it came down to online. So if you're talking about my true experience of my first day, was like, I was just sitting in front of a screen and I was like, what I'm doing with my life? I was supposed to be in campus right now. What the hell is happening? But then suddenly, but it was like, again, it's, the faculty, the way they handle the induction. So I remember this was like, Manpreet Kaur is one of our faculty there. So like she took her first induction online. So what, like how she made it very nice and eventful was, like, you know, starting like as we everyone thinks, like just imagine yourself 3 years once you're you know 3 your life after 3 years once you're done with the MBA. And like when you're taking the admission in the top you know, these B schools and everything, you have a very like, oh, in 2 years we'll complete our MBA, then we will be like a very high corporate, we will just take in a job of 20-25 LPA, and then we'll be all working around. So looking at, you know, with having that perception, we made those all big cars, and you know, in our all after 3 years of life experience, and everyone like made it as colorful as they can, and like we were really excited. And then suddenly, and then when she asked to show everyone like what they have you know, inspired or envisioned themselves after 3 years, and like when you show them, and she was like, we will compare this after 1 year. And we were so like, what happened? And after that, just, you know, like she told me like, we will again make it after 1 year. And we were like, okay, like it will be like from 20 LPA it will be a 50 LPA, because we will be excelling in our careers, in all our subjects and everything. And after one, like just after a week, like, you know, just after, like she asked us to make it again. And everyone was like, all the friends group, you know, like we are going on a trip. Suddenly all that 50 LPA salary and everything, you know, having those big shot cars, luxury cars, turned into a very nice, a very friendly atmosphere, where like we are just going on a trip. Like we were just, I guess we just forgot like how life will gonna be after 3 years. All we cared about, like, okay, after 3 years we will be with our MBA friends, and you know, like all going on a trip and something like all the perception suddenly changed. And how did they did, like they used to make us a lot. So suddenly that nervousness which was there in us, you know, like, oh, this comes. I remember my best friend, like she had a 1 year of experience. She's still my best friend, but still, like, I remember my first day when I met her, and I was like, dude, she comes with 1 year of experience. I'm a very newbie. Like, how am I gonna compete with her? She already have experience, this, that, like, you know, all of the nervousness. And that, like, we had all of those activities, stimulation games where we have to interact. Though we were not physically connected in the campus, we were not physically interacting with each other, but I guess that online thing, we were interacting more with each other. You know, it helped us to understand more with each other. And like suddenly suddenly a girl who was, you know, like I was so scared of, and I was sometimes, and like she's still now best friend. So it's like, that's how induction product goes, like how your faculty, how your college tackles it. For me, it was like a really nice experience.
Let's talk about placement. So when the placement season came in, and you guys were prepared and, you know, ready to, after your internship experience, get a job that you probably wanted after MBA. So how does Hero Association kind of helped you here?
So for me, it was the, I mean, obviously it started with the internships. So I started interning in this heavy earth moving vehicle company called Liugong. It came to our college as an internship opportunity. So I was part of that, and I think from there onwards, I was very keen towards, you know, to learn that, okay, so internship is very pivotal when you are doing your MBA. I tried to jot down the things that I've done in my internship, because I knew at some point of time it will be these questions will come when I'm preparing myself for the final interview. And I did not stop after one internship. Of course, I was doing internships till the time I got placed, and even after I got placed, I was bored. I was randomly doing some internships, because for me it was like, the more time I get with the corporate world is the better I can perform, or better I can outshine it there. And I think that Shiro has helped me a lot. So as we can say, if we talk about the curriculum, so the curriculum was so flexible that, and it is still flexible enough for us to, you know, to do it side by side, like do internships as well as do your MBA. I have seen couple of people from my batch who were doing their job and were also in the campus doing taking regular classes. So Hero obviously has a very good, you know, they know how to take care of their faculties, of their students. When I think Akansha was the first one to be placed from our batch. So, and after Akansha, I was the one who was second. So yeah, and I still remember before going into that call, there were like somewhere around 30 of us in that call, and 3 of us got selected in Accenture. The call that happened with our CGDC team, and it was, I thought, they'll give us some anecdotes and stuff like that, but no, they were pretty chill. They were like, see, this is a call, this is an interview thing, it happens. Don't just overthink about it. Just be who you are. You know what you have done the entire time. You know your internships, you know your projects, you know your subjects. So be whatever you are. Just don't just don't overthink on this. So that was one thing that the team has helped me. And also, so once you join BML or once you join MBA, you will be tagged to a place commer. The person will be responsible for your internships, will be responsible for how do you create your resume. People from your batch will help you. Don't worry about that. Don't worry that you'll interact with seniors. Of course, you do interact with seniors, but yeah, I mean, that is something. And she was constantly behind saying that sort of, this things in your, these lines in your CV is very, you have to change this line. Because when you are in talks with company, they just scan your CV. They just look for what experience you have, what you have done. And this is not reflecting. So that is something, that will teach you in BML, and that level of, care will be taken of yours.
Perfect, guys. Let's have a huge round of applause for them.